There is so much bad advice out there when it comes to pricing your decorations. So many people are pricing out of their feelings. So you may feel like you want people to see your decorations as affordable. You may want people to see your pricing as fair. There are a lot of people who say, I'm going to price my worth because I am worth it, right? Listen, I completely understand that sentiment, but pricing is not about your feelings. Pricing comes down to numbers. So, in this video, I want to talk about it. I want to talk about what happens when you price out of your feelings rather than pricing based on your numbers. But first, before we get into it, let me formally introduce myself. My name is Lanyel Kuzar, and this is Yes Event Academy, where we talk about all things events. Now, for all of my event decorators out there, all of my DIYers, if you are interested in starting your own business, I have classes that will help you. Most of us start off with decorating for our family and friends, right? So when you are decorating for the people who you know and they know you, usually they want a discount. And if they don't want a discount, most of them are going to want you to decorate for free. So, what happens is because you have that experience with your family, you're so busy trying to justify your pricing to your family because they don't want to pay you. You take that into your business. And now you're thinking that customers who don't know you, you may be feeling like they're not going to want to pay you, just like your family doesn't want to pay you, right? But here's the thing, when you start a business, you have to take your feelings out of it, especially when it comes to pricing, because pricing is all about numbers. Now, what do I mean by that? Because you may be wondering what numbers. So there's really two numbers. I'm going to make this very general. There is two numbers that you need to be worried about when it comes to pricing: the money that's coming in and the money that is coming out. So the money that comes into your business, that is your revenue. That is your income, right? So what you are charging somebody, whatever they pay you, that's your income. But there's always expenses. So when you are hired to decorate someone's event, you will always have to pay something. So you have to pay for the materials, you have to pay for the supplies, you have to pay for people to help you, you have to pay for a truck, you have to pay for things. When it comes to decorating someone's event, you can't just show up, right? So whenever you're decorating an event, there are expenses. That's the money that's going out. So the money that comes in, that's your income. That's what people are paying you. But the money that goes out, those are your expenses. And you will always have them. So when you are pricing from your emotions, you are paying attention to the wrong things. So you're paying attention to how people are going to perceive your decorations, how people are going to perceive your pricing, if they're going to get offended by it, if they're going to think it's too much, right? That's the wrong thing to be concerned about when it comes to pricing. Well, let me say this, it's not necessarily the wrong thing. It's just not the primary thing. That's not where your focus should be at first. The first thing that you need to do is sit down with your numbers so that when you are coming up with a price, you can make sure that that price is something that you can make money off of, right? So if you are decorating an event and someone is paying you $300, now you should not be decorating anybody's whole event for $300. I'm just using that as an example. But let's say that you charge somebody $300, okay? But you end up spending $500 on the materials, the supplies, plus you need someone to help you, plus you have to rent a U-Haul. And you guys know these gas prices are off the chain, okay? So if you spend $500, but the client only paid you $300, guess what? You didn't make any money. In order for you to make money, you have to have more coming in than is going out. So if the client only paid you $300, but you spent $500, guess what? You're in the hole now for $200. But if you charge a client $1,000 and you only spend $500, guess what? Then you have made $500. But it's not really that you made $500 because you also have business expenses that you have to pay. But we're not even going to talk about that for now. We are just going to keep it at a high level. You want to make sure that you are charging the client more than you are actually spending for that event. And most people do not do this. Most people do not start off with sitting down with their numbers to figure out how much do I need to charge in order to make money, right? So the first question that you should always ask when it comes to coming up with a price for your decorations, it's not how much should I charge for this? It's how much do I need to charge for this in order to make money? It's all about your numbers. Literally, it is all about your numbers. If you are in your head and you're thinking with your feelings, from your feelings, you're thinking, oh, are people really going to pay this price? Oh, should I be charging that much? Oh, am I charging too much? That's your feelings talking. Take your feelings out of it, because when you start looking at things from that perspective, you are automatically going to underprice yourself. Whatever price that you come up with based off of your numbers, you're going to get into your head, and then you'll start thinking, oh, this is too expensive. Nobody's going to pay this. And before you know it, now you're offering a 50% off discount, or you're not even putting your pricing out there because you're second guessing yourself. Once you sit down with your numbers and you come up with a price, that is your price. Yes, there are going to be some people who are going to think your price is too expensive. Yes, there are going to be some people who may not be able to afford your price. But the price is the price, because that's how much you need the price to be in order to make a profit. So if there are people who think your prices are too expensive, then those are just not the decorations for them. Those are not your customers, right? Sometimes we get so caught up in our feelings and we're trying to chase the customer so hard that we're ignoring our numbers. We're ignoring, this is how much that I need to make in order for me to make money. So the question always becomes, how much do I need to charge clients in order to make money? But you have to be able to stand by your numbers. You have to be able to say, nope, if this customer does not want to pay the price that I already know that I need to charge in order to make money, if this customer does not want to pay that price, then that's not my customer. I have to refuse. I have to politely decline their events. So pricing is not about your emotions. It's not about what people think. If you get caught up in what people think, you will have a very hard time running your business, right? Because there's always going to be somebody who has an opinion. You cannot run your business based off of other people's opinions of what you should be doing. You may have people in your family that say, I don't know who she thinks she is, charging those expensive prices. Who's going to pay that much for decorations? It's only balloons. Just because one person thinks it's expensive, or some people may think it's expensive, does not mean that everybody is going to think it's expensive. And here's the thing. This is the reason why you can't get caught up in your feelings, and you can't listen to other people's feelings about your prices. Because you have to know Yes, these are my prices, these are my numbers, I'm sticking by them, but also I am going to find the people who are willing to pay those prices. I am going to find the people who don't think it's too expensive. Your family and friends are not going to be the customers for your business. Period. You are going to have to move on, step out of your comfort zone, and start booking people who do not know you. Okay? Those are going to be your customers. My customers who have paid me the most money, and I'm talking about thousands of dollars to decorate their events, they are not my family. I did not know them. They booked me because they loved my work and they trusted me and wanted me to create something beautiful for their event. For a long time, I wanted people to see my business and my decorations as a good value. And there are some people who still think that, but most people think my decorations are expensive. And I had to come to terms with that. Now, I'm totally fine with people thinking that I'm expensive. I'll never forget one time I was setting up at an event where I was decorating. I was setting up at a church, right? And I was setting up decorations, and someone who worked at the church walked through and said, "Oh, she's so expensive. Mm, did you see her prices? Her prices are expensive." And I wasn't even offended by that. There was a point in time where I would have been, like this, because I didn't want people to think of me as expensive. Yes, I am expensive. I know how much I put into my decorations. I know my numbers. And let me just say this, the cost for everything is going up. The cost of living is going up. The cost for this gas is going up. The cost for rentals is going up. The cost of decorations is going up. So yes, our prices in the event decorating industry have to go up too. We cannot continue to lower our prices when the cost of everything is going up. We are literally pricing ourselves out of business. So at a minimum, make sure that your pricing covers all of your expenses. But if you want to make money, your pricing has to be way more than your expenses. All right. But if you have any questions, I have a pricing class. So if you want, you are more than welcome to sign up for my pricing class. I do have a training program. So if you're interested in my training program, it's actually $50 off. My training program right now is on sale. So if you are interested in learning how to start your own balloon decorating business where you are creating beautiful balloon decorations, you can join my training program, okay? I will put the link in the description so you can join that. Please do not miss out on this sale because I am about to close my training program for the year. So if you're interested, now's the time to sign up. If you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll see you in my next video.